and I went down to the Florida Keys. And the winds weren't doing so great, so I ended up on a snorkel boat down in Key Largo. And it was January here in New Jersey. It was freezing cold. Down there, it was warm. And my friends and I were down, we went out on the snorkel boat and had a great time. We went out the second day, we had so much so we went out the second day. And the second day, after, we were, took the breath, went down, looked at stuff, had to come back up. Took the breath, went down. Second day, there were scuba divers on the boat. They put their gear on, they went down, they came back 45 minutes later. And then they just started telling us about all of the stuff that they saw that I was trying to get in like these 3-minute surface levels. So I was like, it was like really interesting. So I came back, reading the Sunday paper, there it is, that ad. Learn to scuba dive, come try it. So I did. And I never looked back. So I took the open water class. It was in the middle of winter, got out of class. Some of you guys there are evening classes here. It's 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, you're getting out wet hair, freezing cold out. It was still worth it. Never thought I was going to learn to clear my mask. Thank goodness there was a good instructor and a great dive master. I learned to clear my mask. And then I went on my first dive trip. Went down to Cayman Islands. And it was just all over at that point. It was like, wow, there's like so much to see. And then there was the Cayman Islands, and then there was the Bahamas, and then there was another island, and so much water, so little time. And as I started diving, I started learning more. So I did my advanced open water, and I did some specialties. And then before I know it, I was like helping other people with my rescue course. And before I knew it, it was like, well, what can I do next? What can I do next? And so I became a dive master. And I started teaching and working with classes. Bill was my instructor when I was a dive master. And,
I won't tell any stories, don't worry.
Well, there was a group of 5 females in this class. And it was a while since we had worked on our recreational diving planner tables. So we needed some remedial work, okay. So we got through it, and then we started teaching others. And then the opportunity came to become an instructor. And so I became an instructor, and then I'm an open water scuba instructor. Started teaching some specialties. Became a master scuba diver trainer, and then, probably about 10 years ago, became an IDC staff instructor. And I have, this was all kind of on my recreational time. I had a full-time job. I have a master's in social work administration, and I'm CEO of a nonprofit here in New Jersey. And it allowed me to travel. It allowed me to do things that I was passionate about. And so I would go back to work, I would be refreshed, and then I'd get burnt out, and then I'd go scuba dive, come back and be refreshed. And there's places in the world that I never would have gotten to, just like Sir said. I don't think I would have ever gone to Egypt if it weren't for the fact that the Red Sea is there. I don't think I would have ever gone to Fiji or Australia. They weren't on the top of my list, but now they are. And then I started taking people traveling and showing people that there were lots of places to dive besides the Jersey coast or Dutch Springs or the hot Florida. There's all places in the world, and it's just a passion of mine. And so about 2 years ago, I retired from my job, and I'm now doing scuba as my full-time profession. And just really excited because we do have a really incredible resource here at Rutgers, and the biggest one of that resources are you guys. Because if it weren't for you guys coming and doing classes and going diving and planning trips, then I can't dive as much. That's all there is to it. So.
She's not enthusiastic at all, is she?
And I do underwater videography, although I do admit I don't edit it as much as I should.
I didn't hear you.
I'm waiting for retirement to edit my work.
In other words, those of us that dive with her have never seen any of her pictures, any of her movies. They're just sitting someplace.
Some people there. All right. So Barbara DeClerc is our course director here with Rutgers. Barbara, I did my IDC staff instructor training with her several years ago. Actually, I did that training on a boat down in British Virgin Islands, and it was called the Coon Law. No commercial, I don't care. I did it. We did it in the middle of 2 hurricanes that came through. And we survived on the boat and survived through the training, and we had a great group of instructors that we trained that year. And so Barbara and I have had a long relationship, and she's headquartered right now down in Florida. So she trains with a dive shop down in West Palm area, as well as down in St. Croix and here in New Jersey. And she wants to start. She had to get her dry suit refitted for diving here in Jersey, but she liked it. So she actually came up and we did our first instructor development course last fall. And we've got a couple of them coming up, which we'll get into a little bit later. So she's a really, really phenomenal person. And she also has just achieved her gold status as a PADI course director. And that makes her one of only 52 people with that ranking in the world.
Wow. I'm sorry.
No, it is a wow. It absolutely is a
supposed to
wow.
be in my mind.
It is a wow. It is a wow. So we're really proud to have her with us. That's Barbara.
She's originally from Manhattan.
Yes, and she was originally from Manhattan. Physics professor at Columbia, I believe.
Mathematics.
Yeah. What? Mathematics. Well, physics is in there somewhere.
It's gotta be.
All right, so Ephraim.
Physics, isn't it?
This is the worst picture.
What are you doing?
These were pictures I took.
He didn't edit that.
He's teaching.
No work room.
Demonstration quality hours. All right, so Ephraim, so tell us when and how did you get involved in diving?
Well, when I was a kid, first of all, I was amazed, like many people, I was amazed by Cousteau documentaries. And we didn't have internet, and we didn't have, computers a lot. I'm talking about almost 20 years ago. It wasn't that widespread. So after midnight, if you are lucky, you can find it in one of these TV channels. So I was amazed by this Cousteau's experiments underwater, the idea of living underwater, this conch-shell experiment, the equipment they are using, the places that they are traveling. I was just imagining myself as one of the crew. And soon I just shared this plan with my family, and I told them I wanted to learn diving. And my family, particularly my mother, probably she thought that it was too dangerous. For years it was delayed. Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Turkey, by the way.
Okay, thank you. I just I just needed some placement there. Okay.
So after that, I just saved some money from my pocket money, and I didn't tell my family. I started a course with the help of a relative. And after I finished my motor dive training, I told the dive center that I really couldn't understand the translation, the translated manual. And they probably made fun of me and told me just go ahead and translate the whole thing. And I did. And then they gave me a job. That also I was lucky that there was a NATO headquarters in my hometown. I knew English. Of course, my English was not perfect, but still I could communicate with them. So I soon became a dive master there, then an instructor. That was my first diving job. This is my fifth dive job here. Then during my undergrad years, I worked in other 2 5-star dive centers and 1 dive resort. Then I took another diving job as a rescue diver it was an international race organized by International Offshore Race Committee. Now they are making top class races, organizing. So then, after I was about to finish my first PhD, also I used to work as a lecturer in my hometown university. I decided that I should have another PhD, and at least I should go to some other place, to other universities. So I applied to Fulbright scholarship. This is how I came to the United States 3 years ago as a part of my first PhD. I went to Columbia University. After a year, I went to University of Virginia. This is when I decided that I should have another PhD here because I really liked it. It was totally different, but this is another story. Here, luckily, I met Debbie. First of all, I needed to dive. I needed to see around because I'm in the United States. I was really interested in diving, and while I was choosing among the universities, I got here with the scholarship of the university. While I was choosing, I had other ethics too. I just applied indeed at the first place to universities, you know, the coastal towns. If there is option, I would go there. That was my first thing. So I met Debbie. Indeed, I first applied to lifeguard positions. I wanted to be in water. And then Debbie asked me whether I would be interested in working in the Scuba program. This is how I made it here. At the moment, I'm one of the instructors in this nice program. I also work as equipment manager here. So, in a nutshell,
Where's your favorite place to dive?
well, I've been diving in Mediterranean, in Agency, in Black Sea. So far it is Cyprus for me, but here I really would like to go and see Galapagos Islands. You know, this is, yeah.
Have you been in Sardinia?
Where?
Sardinia?
In close to Italy, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Mediterranean, I've been not
In
Italy,
that area.
yeah, not that part, but all the other parts, particularly between Turkey and Cyprus, I know almost everywhere.
Okay.
What do you enjoy most about being an instructor?
Well, there is something particular that I remember. After I became an instructor, I had a couple students, husband and wife, and they were above their 60s. I met them in this NATO headquarters. I was an instructor in this their recreation program. After the course, before the course, particularly the wife, she was really, really afraid of diving, but she really wanted to do it. After that, after she finished the course, I am seeing the pleasure in their eyes and seeing that they evolve into divers. It's awesome. And all my family is indeed, we are family of teachers in different areas, and I really like teaching. This is what I like about this.
I have a question.
Yes.
Night diving. When did you start doing night diving, and how was the experience?
How I exactly remember my first dive, night dive. I really cannot forget it because in Mediterranean we prefer to make our night dives when there is full moon because of these currents, these high tide, etc. I'm not going to get into it, but there is some light. So this is how we start diving, like 9 p.m. or so, or 9:30. The first thing that we do is we turn on our lights first and start descending just a few meters, and then on the bottom we kneel and we turn off our lights. With this moonlight, you start to see around, you start to see the squids or sunfish approaching you, this curious fish. I really cannot forget the experience. So that was my first ever night dive, and I really like night dives because the fish are out there, you know, and you can see much more fish. If you dive in a place during the day and at night, you will see that it will feel like a totally different space.
Anything else?
If you don't have any questions.
How do you envision putting together your doctorate and going back to teach at the university level and your diving career?
Yes, being an undergrad student and graduate student, you know, it's different. We have lots of responsibilities as grad students. First of all, we are teaching here. This semester I'm teaching a course, last semester it was 2, and there are also lots of departmental staff meetings, conferences, you have to show up there. And on top of this, there is also a dissertation project, at least I hope that I promised it is not much, but still we want it. Anyway, this is another story. The thing is, at first, when I got this job here and started to put in more hours, like I'm talking about 20 hours a week or so, and it goes sometimes about 30 hours during the summer, I couldn't make it to all of these meetings, you know. So my graduate director, she just invited me and asked me, what's going on? It was a very informal meeting, you know. And I told her I got this job, and maybe I wouldn't be able to make it to all of these meetings, but then I asked her whether she would be interested in a diving course. And she said yes. It was my best move because who wouldn't like diving and who wouldn't like free diving course? So probably she'll end up here this summer, probably.
So I think at some point, Ekram's going to write a distinctive specialty so that we can have all the other sides to stories. Thank you.